Hello again. Let's do the homework then, or an exercise uh, with all the hatch that we learned. And what's that going to be? So, this is what we're going to make a house, three windows, a door, a roof, some fencing. And how does that work? The book doesn't give us dimensions, but I'm going to give you some guidance here. It's a house. I didn't give you a width, but if we say that the windows are 3 feet by 4 feet, then we'll say that's probably 8 to 9 feet plus another 3 is 12. And let's say that's the middle. So we're going to say the house is 24 foot wide. 24 foot wide for the house. To the bottom of the overhang here is going to be 7 feet. And from the bottom of the overhang to the top of the roof is going to be 4 feet. And that's not, all these dimensions aren't that critical, but try to stay close. And then this reveal here with the trim is, we're gonna make that 6 inches. There's no dimensions exactly where the things go, but do your best. It looks like the middle of the door is at the middle of the house, so let's start there. The door is 3 foot wide and is 6'8" tall. That's sort of standard for a door. So it's a rectangle, and if we had a chance to zoom in there, let's see if we can do it. It's a rectangle inside a rectangle, and then there's the threshold. Do your best to do that. And then the windows, we drew a window in an exercise in the previous class. So do your best to make it look like that. Then we're going to do a bunch of hatches. And we're going to have to create some boundaries. So if you notice, the bottom has a line that's sort of the ground. So the fence on the left and the right, you're going to have to create a top boundary for it. You can use the side of the house as the boundary for it, but you're gonna have to create a left boundary here and a right boundary here. I try to show it here, but I missed the vertical ones. So, and what hatch is that? That's probably just a line, vertical. Let's see if I can help you with that. Some line, if there isn't a vertical line, you can pick this line, or you can pick a horizontal line and turn it 90 degrees. That's the first hatch. Well, this hatch, go back to the one with dimensions. The hatch for the fence, it's the same hatch as the vertical siding, but the scale is different because if you notice, this is more or less 3 or 4 inches wide, whereas the spacing here is maybe 2 inches. So you can use the same hatch, just notice that it'll have to be a different scale. So that's a line hatch, that's a line hatch, and the siding, there are line hatches. Then there's the shadow because evidently the sun is over here somewhere and is casting a shadow. The overhang of the roof is casting a shadow on the entire house. So you're going to have to create a polyline that goes all the way around, and you select that as the object to give me the shadow hatch. It looks like the same as this, but maybe even a little smaller. If this is 2 inches, this might be an inch. You'll have to create a boundary. The best thing to do is do a polyline. You could freehand it. That goes up. It touches the bottom of this trim. It goes to the edge of the house, and it goes across. Notice what they did here. It comes across and it goes up a little bit because the windows stick out a little bit. I don't want you to go through all of that detail, but that was neat that they did that. Somebody was actually paying attention. So there's that hatch. The bottom, so probably the first 30 inches, it seems the first 2.5 feet is brick. So this is a brick hatch. Make sure you play with the scale so it looks right. I think brick is just a regular hatch. I think there's a couple of them. There's A few of them, but just use the one that's brick. What else? Then it's shakes, cedar shakes, cedar shingles. So let's find that one. I used it in the lesson. There, AR shake, AR roof shake. Okay. There's other types, but I want you to use this one. This is probably a good hour's worth of work. And then the glass. Obviously, the glass is transparent, but they put a hatch there to indicate that that's glass. That's just probably one of these ANSI hatches. It should be the one. Yeah, should be that one. Except, of course, it'll be rotated 45 degrees. Let me just see. I got the right one. It's not that one. If you notice, this alternates between broken lines and solid lines. So it's actually not that one. I'll find it for you. There. ANSI 36 is the ANSI 36. It comes rotated, but since we had told it to rotate it 45 degrees, there it is. That's the hatch that needs to be. The hatches for, it's not critical that the hatches for the windows be centered. You can do them all as one. Be sure that when you hatch the window, you don't hatch in between the structure of the window. Okay? And let's see. It's not critical then that you center that hatch. I would prefer that you center the hatch of the vertical siding, because if you notice, if this is 6 inches between each one of these lines, maybe that's 4 inches. But if you go to the other side, that's 1 inch. So center that from left to right. Obviously, don't have to center it vertically, but you're going to have to try to find the center of this imaginary rectangle. What I do is I draw a line from this corner to that corner, and the center of that rectangle is likely to give me a better distribution. Then you're going to have to do this hatch on top of it, and so that's going to be tricky. But like I said, if you draw up a rectangle here and just select the rectangle, it'll hatch on top of a hatch. Otherwise, you have to pick every little spot in there, and that's going to be tricky. All right, so that's probably a half an hour lesson and probably an hour or so of work. I hope that you have access to a computer. It's hard to learn drafting without actually drafting. So if you don't have a computer, let me know and we'll have to figure out what to do. Maybe the school has some laying around, some laptops or something that you may be able to check out. That's it. Good luck. Send me an email if you have any questions. Thanks.